I hope everyone's doing great today. Before we dive in, don't forget to hit that subscribe button and give this video a thumbs up. The Brown family has always had its share of tension, but Robyn's shocking discovery recently added a brand new twist to their already complicated story. She found out that Kody and Aurora were spending time together at the park, and she hadn't known a thing about it. Over the years, we've seen plenty of secrets, jealousy, power struggles, and blurred boundaries play out in this family. But this moment stood out. It wasn't just Robyn managing things from behind the scenes or Kody sneaking extra time away from his other wives. No, this was different. It was Kody being spotted with Aurora, his stepdaughter, in a way that immediately caught fans' attention and sparked conversations about loyalty, honesty, favoritism, and how much the family dynamics are shifting right before our eyes. Robyn has always seen herself as the emotional glue holding everyone together. She's the one who nurtures, protects, and shields her kids from the chaos of plural marriage. But what happens when she's the one left in the dark? What happens when she's the one caught off guard? That's exactly how Robyn felt that day in the park, when she suddenly came across Kody laughing and walking with Aurora, sharing what looked like a private father-daughter bonding moment. Seeing Kody sitting beside Aurora on that park bench shook Robyn deeply. His face lit up with warmth and attention she hadn't seen from him in months. For the first time, Robyn questioned whether this was just an innocent bond, or if it revealed something she had lost hold of. To outsiders, it may have looked like nothing unusual, just a man enjoying time with his stepdaughter. But to Robyn it felt different. She spent years accusing the other wives of threatening her place in Kody's heart, and now, watching the scene unfold, she couldn't help but feel excluded, left out, even betrayed. The park, a place that's usually calm and open, suddenly felt like a stage for hidden truths and uncomfortable realizations. Robyn hadn't expected to stumble on this moment. She only went there to clear her head after yet another argument with Kody. But what she saw was so different from their fights at home. There was no tension, no distance. Instead, there was an ease between Kody and Aurora, a closeness that Robyn rarely even felt herself anymore. Aurora, who fans usually see as shy, sensitive, and protected by Robyn's constant care, looked completely different that day. She was relaxed, smiling, and open in a way we'd never really seen before. Robyn couldn't ignore the question running through her mind. Why wasn't she part of this? Why hadn't she been invited? And for Robyn, that feeling, being left out of this private world, was far more painful than any argument she'd ever had with Mary, Janelle, or Christine. Robyn had sacrificed, planned, and endured years of tension to become Kody's closest confidant. But now, standing frozen in that moment, her mind was racing. Was Kody trying to create a relationship with Aurora that lived completely outside of her supervision? Or was this just his way of finally stepping up as a father figure, the very thing she had always wanted him to do? For Robyn, control has always meant survival. By keeping Kody close and dependent on her, she had positioned herself as his essential wife, the one who shielded him from the same emotional turmoil that destroyed his past marriages. But watching Kody and Aurora together, Robyn felt a chilling realization. Maybe she wasn't the one in control anymore. What if Aurora was stepping into a role Robyn never expected? What if Kody had found in Aurora the loyalty, admiration, and simple, unconditional love that he once received from his wives, but that had long since faded away? Aurora's quiet admiration and easy presence might have been exactly what Kody craved, like oxygen to someone gasping for air. Especially for Kody, who thrives on being admired, yet has withered under Christine and Janelle's constant criticism. And what would Robyn do if that were true? The longer she watched, the more uneasy she became. Aurora leaned in closer to Kody, speaking animatedly with her hands, while Kody listened with genuine enthusiasm. His face lit up in a way Robyn hadn't seen in family conversations for years. There was no anger, no defensiveness, no irritation, just an attentive father listening as if every word Aurora spoke mattered more than anyone else's. Robyn couldn't shake the feeling that she was witnessing a dangerous shift in the family dynamic. For years she had acted as the go-between, managing, filtering, and shaping the way Kody connected with her children. She had made sure nothing broke the fragile image of harmony she worked so hard to build. But now Aurora had found a direct line to Kody's heart, one that bypassed Robyn completely. And that terrified her. Unable to hold back, Robyn finally walked over, her voice cutting through their laughter like a sharp edge. Startled, Kody and Aurora immediately turned, their expressions quickly settling into polite neutrality. But Robyn had already seen enough. Those moments of vulnerability, that natural ease, it told her the truth. Aurora wasn't just another child in Kody's large family. She had become his safe space, his trusted confidant, the very role Robyn had spent years perfecting. And that betrayal was almost unbearable. The conversation that followed was tense, heated, and heavy with unspoken accusations. Robyn demanded to know why they hadn't told her about their plans to spend the day together. Why the secrecy? Kody, ever defensive, brushed it off as nothing more than a spontaneous outing. But his tone didn't match his words. Aurora, caught in the middle, fell silent. The joy on her face vanished, replaced by a sudden awareness of how serious this moment really was. For Robyn, the sting wasn't just about being excluded. It was about realizing that the very authority she had fought to maintain was slipping away. She had always believed she and Kody were united, standing together against the judgment and criticism of the other wives. Robyn had always believed that she and Kody stood united, defying the opinions of others. But now she realized he was capable of building his own alliances, finding comfort and validation outside of her, even within her own family. It was a crushing blow, one that made her doubt herself and exposed just how fragile her hold on him really was. As the situation unfolded, fans were quick to draw their own conclusions. Some saw it as a positive sign, proof that Kody was finally stepping up as a father figure and giving Aurora the care and attention she needed. Others weren't so optimistic. To them, it was yet another example of Kody's inability to set healthy boundaries, a reminder of how his constant hunger for approval often blurred the line between genuine parental love and emotional dependency. But for Robyn, the truth was simpler and far more painful. She had been blindsided. And in that moment she realized she wasn't the unshakable center of Kody's world she had always believed herself to be. What should have been an innocent park outing carried heavy consequences. It exposed cracks within her own household, revealed shifting loyalties she never saw coming, and left her standing on uncertain ground. Whether Robyn chose to tighten her grip on the narrative, draw Aurora back under her influence, or confront Kody behind closed doors, one thing was undeniable: she had been shaken. And in the delicate world of sister wives, being shaken was often the first sign of a storm with consequences far greater than anyone expected. The weight of that park encounter lingered long after they walked away. Robyn simmered in a mix of confusion, jealousy, and barely contained anger. For years she had positioned herself as the gatekeeper between Kody and her children, controlling how and when they interacted, shielding them from his temper, but also keeping them firmly tethered to her. Now Aurora had stepped past that gate entirely. She had found her own way to Kody, creating a rhythm with him that Robyn hadn't orchestrated. That realization cut deep. It wasn't just that her daughter was growing beyond her influence. It was that Kody himself seemed to encourage and welcome it. It felt like betrayal on two fronts: a daughter reaching for independence and a husband embracing it without ever checking with her. Back at home, the silence between Robyn and Kody was suffocating. Her pointed sighs met his defensive explanations, but nothing he said brought her peace. Each time Kody insisted she was overreacting, that he was simply being a father, his words rang hollow. Because Robyn had seen something in his expression at the park. A warmth, a softness, a pride, feelings he hadn't shown her in weeks. And that was what made it devastating. It wasn't just the secrecy. It was the proof that Kody still had the capacity to give his heart away. Only this time he wasn't giving it to her. For Aurora, the aftermath was even more complicated. She had always been the quiet one, the child most affected by conflict, the daughter who silently carried the weight of her mother's emotions. Spending time with Kody had been a relief for her, a break from the constant pressure, a chance to be seen as her own person, not simply as an extension of Robyn's will. She never meant for it to become. Aurora had never meant for it to come across as secretive or rebellious. But the freedom of laughing with Kody in the park, without her mother hovering, gave her a taste of something she didn't even realize she'd been craving: independence, validation, and maybe even the beginnings of a deeper father-daughter bond, one that existed outside of the bubble Robyn had so carefully managed. Now, faced with her mother's anger, Aurora felt torn apart. On one side was her loyalty to Robyn. On the other was the fragile new bridge she had just built with Kody. If she sided with her mother, that bridge could crumble before it had a chance to grow. But if she defended Kody, she risked unleashing her mother's wrath, whether through guilt, tears, or simmering anger. Either way, it was suffocating. What had once been a happy memory of the park now loomed over her as the place where she had unintentionally lit a fire, one she wasn't sure she had the strength to put out. Meanwhile, Kody was wrestling with his own thoughts. To him, his time with Aurora had been simple, even refreshing. She hadn't criticized him the way Christine or Janelle often did. She hadn't questioned him or demanded more than he was willing to give. With Aurora, he could just be a father figure without the constant marital tension, without feeling like a failure in every interaction. But when Robyn appeared, everything changed. His defenses shot up. Not because he felt guilty, he didn't think he'd done anything wrong, but because he instantly understood how it looked. And more importantly, he knew how deeply it hurt Robyn. The last thing Kody wanted was to risk the loyalty of the one wife who had stood by him through the collapse of his plural family. Yet he couldn't deny the quiet joy Aurora had given him that day in the park. For Kody, the dilemma was clear. Either pull back from Aurora to keep Robyn calm, or continue nurturing this bond and risk widening the rift in his marriage. And for a man who often chose immediate validation over long-term consequences, the pull of Aurora's gentle devotion was almost impossible to resist. Even though the other Brown family members weren't present that day, the ripples would reach them soon enough. Once the whispers spread, opinions would form quickly. Christine, now separated from Kody, would probably roll her eyes, seeing it as just another example of his lack of boundaries. She might even smirk at Robyn finally getting a taste of the betrayal Christine herself had endured for years. Janelle, ever practical, would likely shake her head and view it as confirmation of what she had always known. Kody's relationships weren't about balance or fairness. They were about whoever made him feel good in the moment. And now that person happened to be Aurora. Even Mary, still hovering on the edges of Kody's life, might watch with a mix of bitterness and quiet satisfaction. She too knew the pain of being left out, and she might secretly take comfort in Robyn finally feeling that sting. Because in truth, what happened in the park wasn't just about one man, one wife, and one daughter. It was about the fragile house of cards the Brown family had been balancing for years, and how one small crack could send the whole thing trembling. But Robyn couldn't see it in such broad terms. For her, it wasn't about family dynamics or ripple effects. It was painfully personal. Again and again she replayed the image of Kody and Aurora together, her mind dissecting every detail, searching for hidden meaning. Was the way Aurora leaned in close to him just innocent body language? Was Aurora's closeness just the innocent comfort of a daughter? Or was it something deeper? Something that suggested she trusted Kody more than her own mother? Was Kody's laughter pure joy? Or was it relief? Relief at finally being with someone who didn't constantly remind him of his shortcomings? The more Robyn replayed the moment, the less she trusted her own instincts. And the more desperate she became to regain control. That desperation drove her into choices she knew were calculated. Quiet reminders to Aurora about everything she had sacrificed as a mother. Emotional conversations with Kody designed not just to express hurt, but to guilt him back into her orbit. Even tears that weren't entirely about sadness but about strategy. For Robyn, love and control had always been inseparable. And the scene in the park was proof that both were beginning to slip from her grasp. In the end, that day wouldn't be remembered for the sunshine or the laughter, or the simple image of a father and daughter enjoying time together. It would be remembered as the day Robyn's illusions cracked. The day she realized loyalty could shift, even within her own household. The day she stood on the edge of losing the control she had built her world around. The shock she felt in that moment didn't fade with time. It lingered. It seeped into her interactions. It fueled her insecurities. And it planted the seeds of conflicts that had yet to erupt. For the Brown family, already fractured and worn down by years of division, it was just another spark, one that could easily ignite into a wildfire. And for fans watching from the outside, it became yet another reason the family's story remains so captivating. Because in the world of sister wives, even something as ordinary as a day in the park can unravel into drama that leaves everyone questioning where loyalties truly lie.